YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in the Carthage DEI campaign. It's been a little while since I've gotten you some footage, and most of the footage that I had gotten you recently had some crashing in it. I think we have gotten past that problem. What I did to solve it was I actually updated to the beta patch 17, where I actually thought the mods wouldn't work, but I think that the people with the mods have already updated for the beta patch, which is why it was crashing previously, even though it was showing that my mods were in date for some reason. I have no idea why that was, but we've taken care of it, is the long and short of that. And we should be able to continue the campaign. And you'll notice that this is not exactly where I left off. There's only a few minor differences. When I last left off, we had captured Decisive. I tried recording some different footage, and I actually saved my game thinking I had the footage recorded, but then the footage was corrupted, so I couldn't go back to where I was. You just missed a few turns. There's nothing big. A couple of battles with the Romans here in southern Italy. I haven't even made any major advances. I think the only big difference is I came up here and captured Numantia from the Aravaci, so I control it. I've recruited a new agent down here because they previously took mine and were using him against me quite cleverly. So yeah, that's all that's happened. Like I said, nothing big, nothing major. Not missing out on any giant changes or anything. One thing I also did was I took this army that was up here at Italia and moved them down through Sicily and into Cosentia, and then recruited up a strong force with it. So that I have two strong armies, because every time I would beat the Romans, they would pretty much levy up more troops according to that kind of like event. You know, you're putting Italy under pressure, so they levy up more troops, and they are basically spamming up late Principe, Apulian heavy infantry, late Triari, a lot of units like that. This army though is a little weaker, I noticed. It is up here that's fortified, and typically it's not a good idea for me to attack a fort, but these guys are not particularly potent troops. And what I was thinking was I should attack them and destroy them while they're alone, rather than letting the Romans group up and potentially having to fight one of these armies that's got a lot more difficult troops to beat. And then we can try and bring in these other armies to take advantage. Now this one I'm trying a little bit of some new troops here. I got some Libyan light infantry, which are supposedly Libyan Thurio spears. I want to try these guys out on the flank just for fun. Otherwise this army is pretty similar to my others, and I am making use of a couple of Libyan infantry to support an all-Carthaginian hoplite center, and I've switched here to an all-Carthaginian hoplite center with Libyan infantry flanks. So that's pretty much my plan. We'll see how it goes down. Let's go ahead and attack this fortified Roman position. The Rome Total War music mod seemed as if it was not working right. It shows up to date. The Rome Total War music mod. It seemed as if it was up to date, but it was not working correctly. So what I did was just go ahead and turned it off, so you will hear just the standard Rome 2 music until such a time as it's working again. Some of you may like the Rome 2 music better, but I don't know, it just doesn't have near as much life to it as the Rome 1 music for me. So good, the classic. But we'll listen to it, and it will do. It's better than no music at all, that's for sure. Just kind of see what happens here. We will start the deployment. If this would have been that army of like Apulian heavy infantry and late Principe and stuff like that, me attacking this fort would probably not have been advisable under pretty much any circumstance. But since that is not the case, and the infantry here is potentially beatable, I think that this is a good opportunity for me to get in here, try and crush this Roman force, and then be ready to take on more Romans. And since I have two armies, eventually it should give me the opportunity to push forward into Neapolis and start to put more of a pinch on the Romans and eventually draw them down and destroy them. So that's going to be my goal, though it's taking a lot of effort, which is pretty cool. The Romans have not just buckled and knuckled under in this campaign, not in the least. They have put up a lot of fight. And you did miss some fights that you would have seen had those other videos worked out. So indeed, there were some pretty nice fights. Nothing that was gonna like make you like really upset or anything. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't get to see that. But there were some pretty big fights, like some big stacks versus big stacks. Hannibal just barely survived a couple of battles. I had to actually retreat in the face of the Romans a couple of times. And then a stinking political ploy actually wounded Hannibal, and he had to recover. But while he was recovering, the Romans sent this massive force after the army. What's funny is that his enemy factions were thinking, yeah, we got him, we wounded him. But then when I replaced him with a general from one of those factions that wounded him, the Romans came during that turn and killed that general and most of Hannibal's army. But I was able to salvage some of the units, get them retrained, hire some mercenaries, beat the Romans back, and did so without losing Cosentia or Brundisium during that. So it's been a little bit of cat and mouse back and forth between my troops and the Romans. It's definitely been interesting. I think that I really like the vanilla campaign in Rome 2. I enjoy it a great deal, especially if you turn on like the 4 turn per year mod. Very much enjoy that. But the one thing I like about the DEI campaign is that the AI seems to have more and larger armies, and it kind of makes it a smidge more like Attila in the sense that there's a lot of enemies on the map sometimes when you're going against them. And that just kind of makes things crazy, I guess, and it's something that I've actually kind of enjoyed. So what I'm going to do is get all my troops in position, make sure they're all rested, they're all outside the arrow tower range, and I'm going to assault the fort from all sides. They do have... yeah, that extraordinary unit here is going to be trouble. So is that one. But most of their units here are going to be these Hastati, and they won't be particularly fantastic. But these late Principe and the Extraordinary, they're going to be a little bit tougher. But what I was wanting to do was just kind of burn my way through a couple of spots in the fort wall, and that way I can potentially get my cavalry in and everything else of the sort. So let's go ahead and get everybody moved up kind of the line, ready to run this race. Get in here as quickly as possible, get the walls torn down, and commence an assault. So what I'm going to do is pause it, and I wonder if I should try and burn the towers or not. I think I will try. We'll see if it works. Let's just move these guys up here. I'm going to go ahead and issue all my move orders so that the guys can move in unison. The troops, the guys, troops. Troops, definitely not guys. Okay. Alright, there we go. Let's let it rock and roll here. And if I can get a hole open, I'll try and get some cavalry in behind the enemy. Love to burn down the towers so the Romans don't just continue to get free kills. But at the same time, we're going to be under a lot of javelin fire, and it's going to get a little bit dicey. I'm going to try and take some shots at the enemy general with my skirmishers and see if we can do some damage. My Libyan infantry will be much more vulnerable to the tower fire than my Carthaginian hoplites, though over time both are capable of taking losses. Let's see if... nope, they're not wanting to make the right movement to burn the tower. We're gonna just burn that wall there with these guys. These guys are also not wanting... trying to burn the towers generally leads in non-success. Kind of frustrating, actually. I'm gonna burn down these little gates. Let's get these guys up. Start burning down gates. We'll take a little bit of damage, but this will be worth it because it's going to open up more lines of attack. Okay, burn down the next one. Burn down that. Burn down that. Can we burn down the tower from there? Oh, sweet, I think we can. Let's see if we can burn down the tower. Looks like we can. Yeah, keep burning down stuff. We just want to try and torch the fort, basically. The Roman general's taking some shots.
The walls are breached.
Okay, we're starting to breach quite a few walls. The Romans will come out sometimes once you breach some walls. That's actually a good thing for me. You can see though that the morale's starting to get a bit touchy on my men. But again, this is good. Let's just keep burning this crap down. I want lots and lots of holes in the wall. I'm not doing the best job of micromanaging my troops, but we should be okay.
The walls are breached.
Okay, so we should have a whole bunch more holes in the wall. Let's get our slingers lined up for some shots. I'm going to kind of leave these guys here just to keep my guys from getting outflanked. We've kind of burned down this whole side over here. We even got a tower burned down in the process. I'm going to try and get all these guys into a hoplite phalanx, and then same thing over here because they'll be stronger doing so. Ooh, enemy came and attacked me right when I went into it. We actually managed to burn one tower down too. Oh, don't get outflanked.
The walls are breached.
I'm going to try and start running some attack orders. We're going to actually come out of hoplite phalanx and capture that tower over there. And I want to start shooting some of these infantry in the back. My Libyan infantry are kind of doing a holding operation here. Got all my troops charged in.
Men flee the field of battle.
I don't know who's fleeing the field of battle. Oh, this unit right here. They'll be back. They're okay. Let's pull my cavalry up at just outside of range, just in case we need them. Get my general. Just outside of tower range is what I should say. I'm going to actually forego... Well, I'm going to go ahead and capture that tower since I'm working on it already. Over here, the fight's going extremely well for me. Yeah, I mean, the enemy infantry over here is getting crushed by my heavy hoplites. So it's almost like it was a distraction from my, my Libyan infantry, and it's worked out quite nicely, actually. That tower is actually not in my control, so I'm going to rear charge these Hastati over here. I'm not worried about capturing the tower, because we're about to make a big breakthrough here. So we're going to push on in. Our cavalry can probably now get up here and cause some problems. There's a lot of enemy infantry here.
Our men flee the field of battle.
We are definitely making good progress. I'm going to go ahead and charge into the back of these guys. That fight we're going to win massively, so I'm just going to go ahead and ignore it and come on over here with my troops. I've got a good charge. Go ahead and bring up my melee cav. Got melee cav here too. Let's bring them inside the gates. Got Libyan infantry. So yeah, the Roman troops are being basically assailed from every side of the fort. Let's go ahead and hit these late Hastati. Let's rear charge here. Rear charge there. Let's get some close-ups. Watch the fort battle up close so you can see my Carthaginian cav getting in, hitting those guys from behind. Got hoplites all over the place over here. Cavalry engaged into the back of Romans on this side. We should see a pretty decisive rout of Roman troops beginning here. Yeah, that was a pretty big hit here on the back of those late Hastati. So the problem for the Romans here is that their troops just really were not strong enough to stand up to what I had, and it's cost them a great deal here. Well, it takes a tower is a long time to burn down. So there we did. We crushed the Romans in their fort with relatively few losses. So that worked out really good. Put down a pretty big army of theirs. So the little fort cracking maneuver worked. Again, if that was the army that had all the late Triarii and Principe, that would have been bad. Definitely wouldn't have worked. So my goal here is I need to pick apart the Romans' armies a little until an opportunity opens itself for one of my two armies in Bruttium to make a run on Neapolis. And as soon as I capture Neapolis, I'll have another stronghold from which to operate and put pressure on Rome. I don't know how many more times the Romans are going to be able to levy troops because I don't know what that setting is within the game. I don't know if they can do it endlessly, if it's like every so many years, if it's any time you make a major threat. Like I have no idea kind of what the algorithm or decision making process is that drives that, but we basically destroyed that army, but not completely, so it'll still be around. These guys can do a little bit of retraining, which will be good, and Hannibal's army here continues to grow in strength. I do have a veteran in the army here, so he is imparting chevrons to my troops, and that's going to make them considerably stronger still. It's pretty exciting. So definitely feel like we're in a good position to succeed. We're making decent money on each turn end here as well. I don't want to get too risky and come out against these tougher armies, but we'd like to see them potentially maybe get a little closer where I could single them out and destroy them. This army has the elephants, which is a pretty powerful tool because it's going to give me the scare effect. The Romans have kind of that advantage because the Apulian heavy infantry actually has the scare effect. So that can be pretty dangerous for my men. Carthago has really good public order, and I was wanting to build one of these traders, which drives up my income from tariffs. So we'll give that a shot. I have to have silk before I can build up the better libraries. I was wanting to build those up and really speed my research rate up, but you have to be able to trade for silk, and that's kind of an interesting idea. I like it. I like that the resource plays into the game that way. It'd be a lot of fun. Anyway, yeah, so sorry I'm a day late on a video. I didn't have one up. I typically try and get everything recorded before I leave, but I kind of had like a...
It profits both parties. Don't you agree?
Not in this case. Yeah, I had a quick business trip to go take, and I just didn't have enough time really to get anything done before I left. But after the business trip, it was close to where my sister lives in Oklahoma, which is nice. Got to go over there, go to the lake, had some fun, got up on the wakeboard, did some wake surfing. But man, I'm tired. I did an early shift at the DC, and then came back and did all that. And even though I got a good night's sleep last night, man, I'm still feeling it. But yeah, you can see I do have some of these built. I'm building some local industry too, just doing everything I can to drive up income. I do have 3 pretty large armies, which is why my income is not like real high. So looks like the Romans are going to remain fortified where they're at, which that's a very interesting choice. Very interesting choice indeed. I'm kind of thinking I'll give the Romans one more turn to make a move, and that'll give these guys a little bit more retraining time. And then what I may try to do, and the Romans may try and scoot around me, but I was considering whether or not I should bring both of these armies to one point here and maybe camp here and see if we can lure the Romans into an engagement where I'd have the full strength of both armies, and see if we could use that to bring them down and then quickly punch ahead to Cosentia. I think that would be great, but we'll just see whether or not it works out. +2 to land recruitment cost of trench mine. Wealth from industry. So we could build the stone quarry. Odeon requires some food, but it's not a bad trade either. This warhorse building would eventually add some squalor, but continue to drive some extra economy. We may just focus on trying to upgrade the town centers here. So the civil settlement does not give me any extra income, but it doesn't cost me any food, which is kind of cool. Let's go with the farming settlement there. I'm gonna leave a little bit of money. Oh, good. This is perfect. Are they gonna attack me? Nah, they decided against it. The question is whether they fortified. It almost seems like the Romans can fortify. Oh no. What are they doing? I don't know what the Romans are doing, but they just made a massive mistake. They made a massive mistake there, I believe. I don't know if they can fortify after all that moving. It seems like they can in this, and I don't know if that's a setting maybe where the Romans can fortify despite having used all their movement points. I know that they can do that in the, well, they can do an encampment in Attila that way. I guess it's possible that someone's written that into Rome too. Oh my goodness, these guys are not fortified. That is like an absolute stroke of luck for me, because what that means is that I can night attack one of these armies and destroy it individually and then get back over into the city, and then I can move this army up to basically threaten Neapolis. So this will be our opportunity to actually make it happen here. I'm trying to see if we move up to here. Ooh, they could still technically get around me, but it wouldn't know, because the roads, it would slow them down. So if I put that army right there, it'll give me enough movement points to push on Neapolis. Well, if we get up close to the bridge, yeah, they wouldn't be able to move around me and get all the way to Cosentia at the end of the turn, so we should be safe. Let's bring our spy down here and try and get rid of this enemy agent. I've wounded her several times, but she is tricky to get rid of. And I've actually had my own agent wounded a couple of times trying to get rid of her.
It is done, my lord.
This is going to actually work out really well for us. We're going to knight attack this dude. And that's going to cut off the reinforcements. It still always gives the Romans a heavy advantage in the auto-resolve. But our hoplites should, for the most part, smash the opposition here. Libyan infantry does not stack up so well to the Roman heavy infantry, but I still find them to be a good flanking unit because they're a little less prone well, they're a little more maneuverable than the hoplite. The hoplite's a little slower, a little heavier. Seems to be a great line, heavy charge unit, whereas the Libyan infantry is a little lighter and faster and seems to be well suited for outflanking type work. I'm gonna kind of line up in big columns here and work my way up the hill. Try and negate as much of the Roman height advantage as I can. Just take these guys and start moving up the hill. I'm going to put my slingers in the center. It seems to lure enemy cav into the center. It seems like the enemy cavalry really likes to target your skirmish. Oh, the Romans are going to push me. It's actually not good. Let's pull back all our melee. We need to form up our hoplite line. Even if we're fighting uphill, it's going to be better for me to form my line rather than risk getting outflanked by the Roman troops, who might be spread wider. So yeah, let's focus on getting our line set up, as we are extremely disorganized at the moment. The Roman push on me here is actually a good idea. Reform our slingers. Yeah, we got to get my hoplite line intact before we can actually threaten the Romans. Like I said, fighting up this hill would definitely not be what I want, but fighting disorganized would be even worse because the outflanking penalties in this mod are severe. My hoplites should be in position here before the Romans can engage me. I don't think those cav units would do so good, but they're fairly close to infantry support, so it's not something that I want to risk. Okay, my hoplites are forming up. Yeah, the Romans pushed the hill, and that was actually a good move for them. I'm going to go ahead and push up the hill as well, so that I can try and get close to the crest, if not get to the crest. I'm going to go ahead and push Libyan infantry all the way out to the flank. Same thing with the cav. Let's go ahead and move up our slingers. Let's move up these. The Libyan infantry, like I said, they're not going to stack up well against the Roman heavies. Yep, there you go. The Romans are going to charge after my slingers. They always want to YOLO your slingers. I did not get this unit into a hoplite phalanx, but we have incoming unfriendlies. I want to get some of my units into hoplite phalanx so I can get a more powerful charge. Okay, Romans are charging downhill. They're going to get very nice charges. Going to have to actually charge here. Oh, there we go. Let's charge these guys. Let's get over here around the flank. Let's go chase off these skirmishers. The Roman cavalry is starting to buckle in the center already. Over here, though, the Romans are going to get outflanked. They've kind of bunched a little too heavy on one of my flanks. I just hope that I have enough infantry to hold them for the time being. Let's kind of start moving our slingers around so we can get a better angle. There's a bit of a gap here, but I don't think I can get my general through it, unfortunately. I'm going to get these hoplites lined up for some rear charges. We need to run our Libyan, like right here we got outflanked. This is very, very bad. Very, very bad. That unit's going to buckle and collapse if I don't do something about it quickly. I'm actually going to come hit that unit first. Got to get in there fast.
The men are wavering.
Yes, they are. Let's see if I can get in here and rally them up. I don't know if we'll be able to save them. Do whatever I can to keep that unit in the fight. It looks like it's going to work temporarily. And we can shoot those Romans in the back. Their general has intercepted my outflanking infantry. We should be able to cut them down.
General is under attack.
Let's get all the way back behind these guys. The fight's actually, this is going to be okay. It's going to be alright. Let's move our general out of the way of my slingers. I want to get... Let's see if we can get these late Triarii a quick charge. Yeah, this fight was a little bit worrisome for me at first, but it's looking pretty good now. We're getting good shots into the back of that late Triarii. We can rear charge these Apulian heavy infantry. Let's get over here and try and rear charge their sword infantry first. I think there's... Yeah, this unit fled, unfortunately. We're going to have to pull that cavalry out. We might be able to cycle it for a better effect. But these Romans right here, like this Triarii, they're going to be in a bad position because they're getting shot in the back. Let's cycle another cav charge in here. We are definitely having an impact on those Apulian heavy infantry, though I mean the Romans were putting up a pretty staunch fight here in the center.
Our men flee the field of battle.
Yeah. We're getting some nice routes here. Let's pull some more infantry over to assist. Let's get all this cavalry lined up. See if we can get a more devastating rear charge. Let's try and sneak through here. We've damaged that Triarii quite a bit. Triarii. Sorry, old habits die hard, folks.
Our men flee the field of battle.
Let's go ahead and line these guys up. This fight is actually not going as well for me as I'd like. Actually lost an Libyan infantry over there. We should be able to charge into that late Principe. This unit routed. Enemy generals trying to disengage. Let's bring in more cav, see if we can finish this off. Let's get that Triarii in the back with an infantry. This unit is now wavering too. I don't understand why, to be honest. That's stupid. That unit wasn't even outflanked. That's kind of irritating. I think I kind of got jacked there. My troops seem to be routing a little bit easier than what the Romans are here. Let's get away from that Roman spearman that's coming after me. This Triarii should be broken, but it's not, and again, it's a bit of an irritation. It's been rear charged by cav and infantry at this point. My troops are starting to give me a little trouble. Let's try and get rid of the enemy general. I was trying to chase this routing unit so that it breaks entirely. Now we're talking. Let's see if the Romans can stop this now.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Okay. My slingers have used almost all their ammo. They've done a pretty good job with it. Start bringing these troops that fled the fight back in. We're just going to avoid this late Triarii. That's a very tough unit, and it's going to be a tough nut to crack. If the enemy bodyguard would go ahead and die, we would definitely have this fight in our hands. Let's get out of phalanx so that we can get these units back into the fight quicker. These guys have been fighting surrounded for a while and doing quite well. Let's see if we can get into a wedge and get in here and try and crack that fight. There we go. The enemy bodyguard has actually routed off the field, and I've got infantry now to chase this Triarii.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
I don't think the enemy general died, though, unfortunately. I think we kind of got screwed there. We were fighting uphill, so that may explain, there might be a morale penalty for fighting uphill. I'm not really sure. If that's the case, then it would explain why my troops were buckling a little bit easier than I wanted under the Roman fight. Okay, sorry I haven't gotten any close-ups. I'm trying to make sure I manage this as well as I can because we need a good, solid victory here. I'm not going to be able to beat both Roman armies in a single go, but we can definitely beat this one pretty badly. I'm having to throw a lot of infantry at this fight over here. These Apulian heavy infantry and late Triarii are putting up a big fight. This late Triarii ought to be vulnerable here. It's wavering. And we're going to get a nice rear charge on it. Put my guys into wedge. Sometimes it seems like the wedge helps out with the impact, and it looks like they routed right before that impact. Sorry, like I said, didn't get you any close-ups, but I got to make sure I manage that fight. It's a big fight, and definitely means that I need to be controlling my troops properly. You can see that it must have been a morale game, because the Romans didn't necessarily get a particularly large number of kills. Like this one Triarii did pretty well, but the rest of their troops not so much. Whereas my troops did get, some of them got some decent kills. So again, that just kind of shows you the morale game that gets played in DEI, and it is definitely. I wouldn't say that I don't like the combat in the regular Rome, because I do. But this is different, and it's enjoyable on a different level. Like right there, you saw me, I was just rushing up the hill, like la da da, here we go. But then realizing my army was kind of bunched up, it's like, wow, we can't have those outflanking penalties. And you can see that those little gaps where the Romans would get in sometimes and get behind me was enough to break a small piece of the combat. And it actually adds an interesting layer to the combat that I really do enjoy. I like that it's different than the main game, and I like that the main game is different than this. It gives me two things that I enjoy that are fun. The main game's like a little more straightforward type of fighting, and this one is maybe a little bit more nuanced in the sense of using those type of tactics to gain an advantage. Let's see, Numantia is experiencing good public order. Numantia. I might go ahead and build another one of these buildings that drives up the tariff, because I think we can afford the public order penalty. So yeah, that'll be quite good for us. Let's see if there's any no upgrades on my troops or agents. Let's go ahead and end another turn. Just trying to spend my money, you know, a little bit by bit here on one building or the other. It looks like the Romans going to come over here and attack this army now. So this is actually quite good. Their army is strong, and they have a few reinforcing troops. I feel a little bit better about this army because I have elephants, and if we can avoid the Roman velites, which we should be able to do, we can definitely use those elephants to good effect. What I've noticed, though, is that the Romans tend to be running with huge stacks of powerful infantry, which is, you know, honestly kind of true to the real life for them. They've actually got a couple of cav units here, too. We're going to have to fight them and win here, and I do have 8 Carthaginian hoplites. That's a pretty substantial infantry force. It'll cover most of the Roman heavy infantry, but you can see that by 7, the Romans outnumber me with heavy infantry. Well, mainline heavy infantry. I've got the 2 Libyans and the 2 Thurio spears, but you can imagine the Thurio spears are not going to last long against the Romans here. So I have more like cavalry, and the elephants are specialty troops, the slingers are specialty troops. But as you can see, that's going to cost me against all that Roman heavy infantry. Definitely want to make sure I have my troops lined up. Getting a good hoplite charge here could help end this battle substantially faster, because that charge could really damage the Roman troops and make a wrap up a lot easier. I'm going to get a Thurio spear out on each flank. I'm going to try and just kind of have a good solid hoplite line in the center. I am going to take the risk of putting my slingers out on a flank, even though it may draw in Roman cavalry. I have a Libyan Thurio spear out there, and let's kind of keep my general here for now. The elephants, let's put them on this flank, and the cavalry can kind of sweep away enemy skirmishers, and then I'll kind of bring the elephants up the hill and into the back of the Romans. That'll be my general plan, at least.
As you wish.
Let's try and get up into position and get into hoplite phalanx plenty early.
Enemy reinforcements.
It takes 10 seconds to get into the hoplite phalanx. The ground is pretty equal out here. Okay. Their velites are kind of already bearing towards my cavalry and elephants.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Okay. My mainline infantry, so it's the Roman troops appear to kind of be bearing towards my right. I'm going to try and start to adjust to match. Their cavalry is coming in hard towards my elephants. That seems like it's a mistake. Let's keep my elephants safe. The AI has an odd strategy for which units to target.
We have discovered the enemy's
I
hidden
can't say that
units.
I've quite figured it out. Yeah, we've managed to catch the Roman cavalry here from behind. It's going to suffer a quick and disastrous fate at the hands of all these Thurio spearmen and javelins and everything. Yeah, they're getting just wrecked. I'm going to get behind here. All right, let's slow motion. Get my Thurio spears ready. Let's start wrecking these velites. They could potentially damage my troops from behind pretty well. Thurio spear's got a great throw into that late equite. I'm going to attack it. 2 seconds away from being able to charge with all my infantry there, so that's good. We can start to use this cavalry to sweep up Roman skirmishers. Let's go ahead and hit... Ooh, I'm not going to be able to get on my charges if we go just straight into plate. I'm going to go for my charges. Just trying to line this up as best I can. The AI doesn't always charge you exactly head-on like you think they're going to. I thought we were shooting here, please. Let's go ahead and move up on that flank. And let's go ahead and hit play. And let's use this cab to sweep the skirmishers out. Start moving these infantry up and around. Elephants, don't get into that combat, please, because you'll go berserk. Stay away from the combat, please. Okay, I should have gotten pretty good charges in the center. Gonna keep trying. The AI cavalry has disengaged from me and started to run away. Let's move around. Okay. Okay, let's bring the elephants out and around, and we should be able to get to the infantry fight in time. We're suffering a little bit of morale damage up front. Let's get around the flank entirely here. There's Roman reinforcements over here, actually. I'm not really looking at my mini-map, so hopefully they don't get me too badly. This Libyan infantry is suffering some morale penalties due to being...
One of our units has
Let's
used all its ammunition.
make way for my elephants here to hit the Roman flank. Inspire my men, rally, war cry Romans. This is looking to be a much more decisive victory. Let's get our melee cav into those velites. We definitely have a good route going, and what I'm going to do is just take my elephants. I'm going to put them on elephant cam and let you all watch as I get into... Actually, I don't like elephant cam. Let's get into the just the free mode. Yeah, this Roman blob right here in the center is my main target, and the elephants are going to wreck home. They're going to go berserk, of course, but the fear and the rear attack ought to be severe against the Romans, and I'm thinking you're going to see the Roman center get mopped up pretty well there. It's already a mass waiver.
One of our units has gone berserk.
It went berserk a little bit later than I thought it would, actually. Let's get into the back, all these Romans. My elephants are berserking, already up to 120 kills, which that's pretty fast in DEI to get that many kills. We can have more rear charges incoming. So here comes some more cavalry charges into the back of the Romans. This hoplite unit's getting worn a little bit thin because it's heavily outnumbered. Ooh, we're about to get outflanked here. That's not good. Let's get a charge right here. The elephants are behind, so an enemy general just routed.
Our general is under attack.
I don't know where my men are wavering at, but let's get my cavalry in there. Yeah, it's going really good for us here. We got rear charged by this bodyguard, and that's probably what made us waver, actually. The elephants are causing pretty extreme damage. I'm trying to chase that late Principe that is routing. Let's start, or actually that's a melee cav, let's get it around. Let's start wrapping up on this Roman flank here. I'm trying to chase some of these routing units to... Whoa, yeah, we're about to get hit from behind here. Let's get out of here. That's the Roman reinforcements that I knew were around somewhere. I just hadn't been paying attention to where. Let's get our elephants over here to help as well. They've stopped going berserk. This is just in time, actually. The break here is very clutch because it's just in time for me to turn. My general was in a very bad predicament, though. We've got to get him free. Okay, my general did get free. This is actually pretty bad, though. We're about to get attacked in the rear. I'm going to bring my general in for another charge. Actually, I'm not. I'll just use it to keep the Romans from charging my own men in the back.
The battle is turning in our favor.
There we go. Yeah, this is going to be a very, very key victory, because this is going to open the way, basically, to Neapolis. The Romans having attacked me here and not been able to succeed in destroying my armies, this is definitely going to open the way straight to Neapolis. So this is very, very good for us. Good. Yeah, my hoplites did great there. When they get that open field battle, they're going to do a lot better. You can see that because of their high defensive stats, the Romans struggled to kill many of them, and then their high charge ends up seeming to give them an advantage. However, you've seen the Romans are tanky. They can get around your flank, and you've seen that happen, and my troops start to waver, so I think that that's where their strength lies. They can absorb a lot of fire. They're not easy to rout, and if they get on your flank, they can get you off the field quick. Whereas it seems like the Carthaginian troops do well in kind of like an open charge. Probably hoplites in general in this game would be my guess. Those Thurio spears clutched out a lot more kills than I thought they would. They were really good on the flanks. They're a little bit faster. They were able to help assist in cav fights. Definitely enjoyed having those there. Yeah, you can see Neapolis is now open for the taking. And I am going to push and take it because I need that pressure on the Romans at this point. It does still have a garrison army, so it won't just fall completely over, but I do expect that my troops will be more than capable of handling a garrison. And this will definitely end up being, hopefully, a turning point in the somewhat of a stalemate that there's been here in southern Italy for a number of turns. Actually, I can't quite reach Neapolis in this turn, so I'm going to stay in my own territory, retrain a few troops. Hannibal can, however, reach Neapolis. But my only worry is if the Romans levy up armies on the very next turn. But, I mean, attacking Neapolis could potentially trigger that as well. I'm gonna have Hannibal slay that kind of singled out Roman general, and I'm gonna push up towards the border, and we'll go ahead and prepare to invade Neapolis on the next turn. If we can capture Neapolis, I think what I want to do is go ahead and lay siege to Rome and start withering it away and see what we can do to get it taken care of entirely. Alright. Might as well go ahead and spend some money, upgrade that town center. Little bit by little bit, add some wealth to my faction. See what happens. We're gonna find out on the next turn whether or not the Romans levied up more troops. If they didn't, they are in extremely rough shape, because they had 3 pretty potent armies when this episode started, and I was able to deal with all of them individually. Political intrigue, increase in rank. The Romans did not levy up more legions. So at this point, I'm pretty certain that we are going to make some major advances in the war against Rome. It's giving them huge advantages here. I don't know where these reinforcements are coming from. I'm going to encircle, and then I'm going to move up Hannibal's troops here as well. So one of those reinforcing armies, is it that one? No, I don't think it can actually get here.
Baal Hamon be praised. I shall give
See if we can poison their provisions.
your will.
I don't know where the reinforcing Roman troops are coming from, but I'm going to have reinforcements now too. It's still giving the Romans the advantage, so we are going to have to fight this. Definitely looking forward to that. Though, I think I should save it for another episode because this fight will take a little while. Hope you all enjoyed it. And maybe that episode will come a little sooner than you think, as a gift to you for missing a day. Heir of Carthage, signing off for now.